Various groups have come together at Constitution Hill in Johannesburg this afternoon to campaign against corruption. They're demanding accountability and respect for the rule of law. This comes just a day after Human Rights Day was commemorated yesterday, and just days before a court is to hear a matter related to former President Jacob Zuma's defiance of a court order to appear before the state capture inquiry. eNCA reporter Masego Tlaga is live for us at Constitution Hill, joining us now live for an update. Masego, what has been said by these parties? I understand interest in their cause is growing.
Well, Tembegile, it's been quite an afternoon for those who've been gathered here. I mean, we saw people holding placards that said defend our democracy around the Constitutional Court. Most of them saying that they came here because they saw the invite in the streets and they want to stand with the organization against corruption in South Africa. Now, this organization was, of course, launched particularly in reaction to what happened with the former president refusing to take the Constitutional Court's instruction to have him continue his testimony at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. He, of course, then wrote to the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. Tembegile, as you'd remember, he didn't even pitch at the Commission of Inquiry. He sent his lawyer to send a letter. But I do have one of the ANC veterans who's going to speak to us. He actually leads this organization. It will be very interesting, that you actually even have something here in your hand that you'll be able to just explain to our audience exactly why you have these orange overalls in your hands.
Well, firstly, I must say that this is not an organization. We're starting a movement behind the theme of defending our country, our constitution, and our democracy. The fact that I've got orange overalls here, this is the mantra of this campaign, basically saying that anyone who commits an offense against the republic, in fact in the country, must face the consequences, and will be calling upon the Justice Department to do its work. I've been mandated and asked to present our memorandum to the Minister of Justice, which we hope to do as soon as an appointment is secured. Essentially, it's us saying, as South Africans, we are tired of just standing by and be commentators on our own demise. We have to do something to stop the rot that is taking place. It's when good people keep quiet that the bad guys think it's open sesame. So we are sending a message here that there is the beginning of a slow, gradual, and soon to intensify movement of ordinary South Africans who will be showing their outrage at the fact that even someone at the level of their former president will go to the extent of undermining the central leg on which our democracy stands, the judiciary and the courts. To that extent, in fact, we would like him just to be a big man and just rise up, face the consequences, tell what he has to tell, and let, in fact, the country move forward. We can't be held to ransom by personal, in fact, feelings.
Looking at this overall, who within the ANC would you think belongs in an orange overall? Let me ask you a direct question. Do you think the former president?
I can tell you now there are many. And sometimes people think that we are against Zuma. This is much more and even bigger than Zuma himself. There is a much more serious problem that Zuma is just the face that we can all see and relate to. But behind him, there is a plethora of individuals who have taken courage from some of the issues and some of the things that is done to feel that they can do as they please. So, you know, we're not Zuma. Some of us, we knew him for many years. We feel terribly, in fact, disappointed. We hope it could have been different. But to the extent that he's in this situation, he must meet his side of the bargain. He took an oath as a president. That oath of defending the republic is called upon now to stand up to it and do likewise.
Do you think he belongs in an orange overall? Particularly, of course, we know state capture still needs, there's still long investigations that are to go, but with undermining the Constitution and going against what the highest court in our land has ordered him to do.
Well, if I can become irrational, I'll say so, but I can't, because the country is a country that must be ruled by law. He must, if anybody is accused, he must go through the process It is the courts who will pronounce on the guilt or otherwise. To the extent that anybody is guilty, it is the court who will determine what appropriate sentence is there. It's not for us. People might have the feeling that it should because they feel so offended, so aggrieved by what has happened. It's like we've been robbed blind in daylight by people we trusted. So people are very angry about that. But I accept that he has a right to have his day in court. And he must, in fact, acquiesce to that when that opportunity is given him.
Thank you very much, Tembegile. That is, of course, ANC veteran Date Murphy Morobe speaking to us there. You'll indicate to me, Tembegile, if Mukhumuti Situki and I still have time. I wanted to just quickly grab Date Popo Molefe. You'd remember that he's one of the people who was called to the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and he adhered to that and went to testify about what was happening at PRASA during his tenure as board chairperson. You can keep it on, sir.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Molefe, today here you are one of the people who was at a state-owned entity that was embroiled and still is embroiled in corruption. What's your mandate?
Well, my mandate, remember, as a leader of a state-owned company, is to use that state-owned company to attain the development of objectives of the state. And the development objectives of the state include, amongst others, growing the economy, facilitating growth broadly, creating conditions for decent jobs, but also, more fundamentally, to fight towards the eradication of poverty and inequality in our society. That's what has been the case. In the case of PRASA, our business was to make sure that we reorganize the commuter rail transport in a manner that would enable ordinary people who are living in the townships to travel safely to their places of employment and back. And that required that the operations had to be efficient. The quality of the trains needed to be of a modern state. The locomotive board to pull these trains needed to be of the nature that complies with the regulator as requirement in South Africa. And they themselves needed to be of the correct size, and they should be safe. Of course, I fought that battle, won the case against those who had been allowed to act as fronts for a Spanish company.
Sorry,
now, I'm no longer there. Yes. I'm now at Transnet. At Transnet, our fundamental mandate was initially to clean it up and rebuild it.
Let me just come in and ask you something else as well, Ndate Molefe. You went to the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, as was required to do, and you testified and finished your testimony. And I believe if they called you to come back to clarify something, you would gladly go. How did you feel when you heard the former president just blatantly saying that he would not appear before Justice Zondo?
Look, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that a man who was supposed to be the guardian of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa and a foundation of our democracy would be the one who would undermine the Constitution of South Africa and that democracy that he himself sacrificed for. And he's doing so simply because along the way he started misbehaving, departing from the values of the movement that created him and its principles, and started to work for himself and begin to commit to personal accumulation.
Did you ever encounter anything with the former president during your tenure as PRASA chair? Did he try to get you to do something that you shouldn't have done?
Well, he tried, but let me first say that I initiated a meeting with him to say to him, the way you are leading our country, the ANC, and our government is not how it was envisaged when we started creating this democratic government. We knew that we needed to prepare strong and qualified cadreship to run these institutions, not cronies. But what you have been doing so far has represented a drastic departure from everything that we stood for. So I did that, and he said we should meet again, but he said I should not be the one who organized meetings, because that first meeting was organized by me. We never met. The next time we met was when him and Jeff Radebe were trying to intimidate me to get Lucky Montana back as the CEO of PRASA. And I told them that it was not going to happen. I was not going to change the decision of the board.
Do you think you did enough, or were you facing hurdles as you were trying to clean up PRASA?
Well, I faced a lot of hurdles, and these hurdles were a lot of people not cooperating, information being stolen, Montana himself undermining the board, and of course some of the directors being encouraged to resign from the board, to make the board, to cause the board to lack a quorum so that it couldn't make critical decisions that it had to make.
Dr. Molefe, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure we would, Tembegile, as you'd understand, there'd be a lot that Dr. Molefe would try to tell us in terms of what happened at PRASA during his tenure as board chairperson. You'd remember that he and the other members were the ones who fought against their dismissal by former Public Enterprises Minister Lynn Brown, and they won that case and they were reinstated as the board.
eNCA reporter Masego Rahlaga live for us at Constitution Hill. For now, thank you, Masego.